You were born in Detroit.
That's right.
Was motor oil pumping through your veins at a young age? Were you always fascinated?
Yeah, it was a big deal when the new car models came out. Everybody wanted to get photographs of them. And those were the days when General Motors and Ford, they were all in Detroit. So all the major car manufacturers were there.
So you were a car lover from the beginning?
Yeah, from the very beginning.
Okay. What do you drive now?
I have a Mercedes.
Okay. Not made in Detroit, but that's okay. Yeah. And you made a racing movie before, Days of Thunder, which I'm sure everyone has seen and loved. But that was sort of a difficult production, and I was wondering, did you take anything away from Days of Thunder that you applied when you were making F1?
Yeah, we built more cars than we thought we needed, because at the end of Days of Thunder, there wasn't one car left. We had crashed every single car.
Some more cars.
Yeah.
Okay. In 2021, the F1 package went out, and it kind of created this bidding war. And you ended up with Apple, and I was wondering why Apple. Was it just that they offered sort of the most handsome package, or was there something that you found dynamic about their offer?
I think they understood how we wanted to make the movie. We wanted to make the most authentic racing movie ever made. Eddie Q is a big racing fan, and he's on the board of Ferrari. So he understood that it takes time and money to make it right and to make it really good. And Apple was going to lean in and make it the right way. Okay,
and they understood all of that. Yes. I mean, it seemed like a relative short development process. But maybe it was not. I mean, it seemed like sort of everybody from Top Gun came back kind of with Joe Kosinski and Ethan Kruger. But was that a short development, and why?
It was 4 years that we worked on this.
And what is that like in the length of a usual development? Is that shorter or longer? Or
some take 10 years.
Right.
Some take a year and a half, 2 years. But it's kind of, the problem we had is that we shot 4 days at Silverstone, which is a racetrack outside of London, and then we hit by 2 strikes. The actors and the writers went out. So in a way, it was good for us because we had a second unit director who was going to do all the second unit filming of the cars. And this way, Joe could do it. So we didn't need the actors for that. So we went around the world to 9 different tracks, and Joe shot all the car footage. And he had storyboards made where we inserted the actors into the storyboards. So when we looked at a sequence, all you'd see was part of a storyboard to say the dialogue. He didn't say the dialogue, but we had the dialogue written in.
And then you just knew exactly that was what you had to pick up afterwards.
And then we came back a year later and filmed the actors at 9 different racetracks, same racetracks, but 9 of them.
And you were sort of you were shadowing the actual teams,
yeah, we followed the F1 circuit around the world.
That's incredible.
But the hard part was to convince F1 to work with us. Look, it's a worldwide operation. They spend hundreds of millions of dollars. The teams spend $400 million. So to allow a Hollywood movie to come into their life is very difficult. So Joe and Brad were very smart about how they did it. First of all, the first thing Joe did after he had the idea, he was watching Drive to Survive, and he said, they focus on the last place teams. I think that's more interesting than the first place teams, because the first place teams wouldn't participate.
Right.
Because it would only hurt them. So what we did is, Joe went to Lewis Hamilton, who he had his email address for something on Top Gun, because he wanted to be in Top Gun, and when Joe told him it was going to take 4 months, he said, no, I have another career I got to deal with. So he didn't lean in. So he emailed him and said, I want to make the most authentic racing movie about F1 ever made. And Lewis said, I'll jump in. And we met with Lewis here in L.A., and he said, let's go do it. And then we got Brad, and then we went to London to meet with Stefano's, the head of Formula One. But what we did is, Joe brought Top Gun along. It wasn't out for another 3 months. So the first thing we did is we showed him Top Gun, Maverick. And they said, okay, these guys know how to make movies. And then Joe did a reel where he took how he'd made Top Gun, because we didn't have all the jets. The F-14 doesn't fly anymore. You couldn't get the Russian jet. And he skinned them over an F-18. And then he took race footage, and he picked a car that we were going to drive and inserted that into their actual races. So they understood exactly how we were going to make the movie. Then we had to go through a process of going to the 10 teams, because they were for sure going to be the villains. Somebody was going to be the villain, and chances are it was going to be Red Bull, because Mercedes, who built our car, and Lewis was at Mercedes at the time, had a huge rivalry with Red Bull. And so we had to convince that team, and particularly that we weren't going to make them the bad guys. And it took a year, it really did.
Wow.
Just to sit with them and get them comfortable with that we're telling the truth.
Right.
And because they allowed us to go on 9 different circuits and actually film during their races. So in other words, when they had a qualifying lap, and it was like 10 minutes before the next qualifying lap, we put our car out there. And so at Silverstone, the first time Brad drove the car, he drove the car for 4 months prior, because Damson and him actually had to train in various forms till he got to the F2 car, which he drove with an F1 body. He got out there in front of 140,000 people, and I'm sure he was scared he wasn't going to spin out, because he was going 180 miles an hour.
Yeah.
The F1 cars go 220 miles an hour. So, but still, that kind of speed for an actor and trying to act at the same time is a daunting task.
Yeah.
But he pulled it off.
Well, I wanted to ask about Brad because here's some Jerry Bruckheimer trivia for everyone, that he was considered for the role that Denzel got in Crimson Tide, right? When it was going to be
That's
Pitt
right.
and Warren Beatty was in the
Right.
Gene Hackman role. So what took so long for you to, was this always something that you wanted to work with?
Yeah,
'cause that was in 95 or 96,
He's
right?
a brilliant actor. He's
Yeah.
a real movie star. And this was the role he was born to play.
Yeah.
Sonny Hayes. It's just so perfect for him.
Yeah. You talk about the F1 component of this movie, but you're also dealing with Apple, and then you also have Warner Brothers come in as a distribution partner. And I was wondering what that was like. Was there ever a moment when it was just going to go to Apple TV Plus? And obviously Joe loves the large format, and
That was the deal up front. That's why one of the reasons we went with Apple, understanding how we wanted to make the movie and that we were going to big theatrical release. It's still not on streaming.
Yeah.
So it's still out there, and we're still doing business in theaters.
Yeah. How important was the IMAX premium format component?
I think that's the first call. Once we had Apple and Warner Brothers, the first call Joe made was to IMAX.
Okay.
And to talk to them and to make sure that we could get those screens.
Who saw it in IMAX? It was an absolutely transcendent experience. Okay, we've got some people. Because it was the full 1:90
Yeah.
ratio for the whole movie,
Exactly.
right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Pretty amazing. We're going to get into here's a topical question for you, Jerry. This movie was shot all around the world. In how many different countries?
I think 9 or 10.
Okay. So Trump is making this noise about tariffs again, and I was wondering how that impacts you, and especially the movies you make, because you make these kind of globe-trotting adventures. Like, are you worried about that? Have you thought about it? Like, what's your take?
I don't know. There's always a lot of noise out there.
Okay.
Hopefully it's just noise.
Okay, so you're not worried about it until it becomes...
Nothing I can do about it.
Nothing you can do about it. I was wondering, you learned something, I think, on all these movies, right? So, like, what was the big takeaway from F1, besides having many cars on hand?
I think you learn something every day. You try not to make the same mistakes you've made in the past. But it comes down to, it's got to be on the page. You've got to have a great screenwriter and a great screenplay. And we put so much time and energy and effort into making that script as good as it could possibly be. And we're good at all the bells and whistles. We're great at it. We know how to shoot movies. Joe's a master. But if it's not there, if the emotion's not there, if you don't feel something when you walk out of the theater, that's where you lose them.
Yeah.
And that's the key. The writers get the great directors, get the great actors, get the studio to lean in. They're so important to our process, and Aaron Kruger is one of the best.
Were you surprised by how popular the movie was?
I always expect the worst and hope for the best, so I never really know.
So when the
Anybody who tells you they have a hit movie and it hasn't come out yet, they're lying because they don't know.
But you can dream. It's good to dream. In 2009, you said we learned from our mistakes. You might have heard of a convenient technique called Take Two. This is from your book, Jerry. And I was wondering, looking back on your career, what are some of the bigger mistakes, and what did you learn from them?
You know, I don't think about them. I forget about the mistakes. I just try to.
Is it like childbirth where you don't
exactly.
think about the pain?
It's like pain. You know, when you feel pain, it's
Yeah.
terrible, but you forget about it.
Yeah.
So it's gone.
Yeah. I mean, you've had a lot of movies go into development, into the black hole of development.
Right.
Is there a property or project that never got made that you still would love to see?
I think everything that we have in development, and there's approximately 40 things, we really want to get them made.
Yeah.
And we'll keep pounding the pavement until we do it. I mean, fortunately, we're very busy on a lot of the things on previous movies that they want to remake, not remake, but do sequels.
Yeah. Can I tell you my favorite unmade Jerry Bruckheimer movie that I'm dying to read or see or something, which is Dharma Blue, which was a UFO movie that was written by Joan Didion and John Gregory Dunn that he details in his book a little bit.
Right.
What was that? What was Dharma Blue?
If I could tell you, I have no idea. It's been so long.
But you are doing a new UFO movie with
Yeah, we
Kaczynski,
are.
so
We
it's sort of coming to fruition.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about that? Where is that in the project
Well,
lineup?
we have a script that we're working on a second draft of
Okay.
it right now, and it's an excellent script. So, and we have a great director in Joe Kaczynski.
Yeah.
So we'll keep honing it until we get to a place where we want to make it.
That's an Apple project too?
Yes.
So what about the experience on F1 are you applying to the UFO project? Is it going to be are you going to get theatrical distribution? Is that part of it?
That's part of it.
Okay. Do they feel
That's a given.
Okay, that's
for
a given.
Joe.
Okay. But that's
And
also a
myself.
given with you because you Young Woman in the Sea, which came out last
Yeah.
year, which I loved, which everyone should watch on Disney Plus, was initially just going to go to Disney Plus, and you fought for a theatrical
Yeah.
release. What are those conversations like when they are dead set on sending it to a streamer?
Well, the way I look at it is it's an excellent movie. It only helps their brand
Yeah.
to put it in the theater. They're proud of the movie. Why wouldn't you want people to see it in the
Yeah.
theater? Because it's big, it's expansive, it's great director, great cinematographer, and it's a beautiful looking movie, and it sounds fabulous on a big screen.
Yeah, and every time we did something, everybody came up to you and said, thank you so much for
Yeah.
showing it in a theater. And even little screening rooms, I mean, it looked amazing, but yeah. What did they say you were right after the fact? Right?
I don't know if they say you're right, but I think they were glad they did it.
Yeah. There has been talk that Apple is sort of paring down like budgets and things on projects. Is that something that you're facing on the UFO movie, or do you think F1 has sort of given you all the goodwill you need to make the biggest, loudest, most action-packed UFO movie of all time? I'm putting words into your mouth, Jerry, but we all know this is what it's
No,
going
I
to be.
think they heard the pitch. They know what we want to do. We want to make it authentic. We want to shoot in real places. We want to, kind of show what that world is like.
Okay.
And it's a really an interesting project because it kind of tells you what we have not been told, what's been going on behind the curtain, and how the government has been covering this up forever.
Interesting. Okay. Multiple time periods or
Yes.
present day? Okay.
Multiple time periods.
Okay. So more All the President's Men, less Independence Day?
Yeah, it's All the President's Men.
Okay. Ooh. Getting the tingles, Jerry.
Yeah.
Ready? You've worked with some amazing filmmakers, like cream of the crop. You've worked with Ang Lee, Gore Verbinski, Ridley Scott, Michael Bay. Is there anybody you've really wanted to work with that you still would love to collaborate with?
Look, there's so many great directors that I would love to work with, and hopefully, before my career's done, I'll knock off a few more.
But nobody springs. You're not like, I would love to see you work with Catherine Bigelow. I think that would be a great team up. But
I think she's great.
yeah, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
She's already making.
It's unfortunate she doesn't make enough movies.
I know, I agree.
Yeah.
But at least we got a new one coming out.
Yeah.
So that'll be exciting. You worked with Michael Mann
Yes.
many, many years ago. I think we need more movies from him. Have you been nudging him in any direction?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Okay, that's intriguing.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's one of the potential in the hopper projects.
Yeah.
Okay. Someone
Without
mob
saying
him.
too much,
You
but-
can't say too much.
No.
Okay. All right. Okay. You've also been responsible for some amazing franchises that are still going. Does it surprise you that, like, that you just made another Beverly Hills Cop? I mean, I never thought I'd see the day. And it was great.
Yeah.
So what is your approach to sequels, and how do you maintain those franchises?
The key to a sequel is the audience wants the same experience that they had the first time, which is really hard to recreate.
Yeah.
But they want you to give them that feeling, but not the same thing. So I think the best one that we did was Top Gun Maverick, where you felt you were still in the first movie. We told you what, in case you hadn't seen the first movie, you had an inkling of what it was about, and yet we took you on a whole new adventure.
Yeah. McHugh is very good at that kind of thing. Can I ask for some franchise updates? We're going to go down the list. These are still active Jerry Bruckheimer franchises. Pirates of the Caribbean, where are we at? Are we going back to the high seas?
We're working on a script.
Okay. Has that been the log jam?
Yeah, you always got to, again, it's always on the page.
Yeah.
If you don't have it on the page, it's not going to get on the screen.
And then you got to convince somebody to spend 8 months in open water or whatever.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. Do you get seasick?
A little bit.
Okay. Bad Boys. There was a recent Bad Boys that was a big hit. It was fun.
Yeah. We're coming up with another idea for another one.
National Treasure. Where are we at on that?
We're getting closer on that one.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay. Turtle Tob and Cage?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Still a lot of mysteries out there.
Yeah.
Here, Like when they did the Disney Plus show, were you kind of annoyed that they kind of went to streaming before you got another movie out?
No, it was completely different. We want to keep the name alive. We want to keep it in the public eye and in the zeitgeist.
There's been some noise about another Top Gun, speaking of Mr. McQuarrie.
Yeah, we expect a script in the next month, I think.
From who?
Aaron Kruger.
Oh, really? Okay. So he's back, getting the gang back. And Aaron's doing the UFO movie too, right? Or no?
No.
Okay.
You want to tell us? Zach.
Who is it? Oh, Zach. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And then Days of Thunder. Speaking of cars.
Yeah, we don't have a writer on that yet, but we have some good ideas.
If anybody has a pitch. I heard that, but McQuarrie said that he knows exactly what the story. Last time I talked to him, he said, "Oh, we know what it's going to be."
Well, I'm glad.
Okay,
I'm ready.
Are you going to spend too much time on the racetrack? I mean, because Apple's been making noise about another F1, F2. I'm just gonna that'd be a fun title. What is nothing on that
on
or
F1?
Yeah, on
not
F1.
yet. We're working on some ideas.
Okay. Brad seem interested, or
if we have the right idea, sure.
Okay. Is that always like the kind of push and pull, like?
It's always you got to give them something to play.
Yeah.
They want to go on another ride. They want to have a great character.
Yeah. I mean, has there been something that you said, "Oh, we would love to do another one of those," and then the script never materialized, or an idea never?
Well, I think the hardest one has been Pirates.
Okay.
So far.
What about it? Just
that world is so cool and specific. You just got to find the right way in.
Because they were like competing.
We had two scripts at one point, and then one kind of dropped out, and we kind of went with the other one.
So was the one that dropped out the Margot Robbie one?
Well, she's still involved.
Okay. Was that about Red, the pirate from the ride? Okay.
No.
Okay. And then this other one is a writer that I think has been announced.
Ted Elliott.
Yeah. Okay. So Ted Elliott is working on that.
He worked on it.
Oh, he worked on the
bringing
Margot
somebody
Robbie.
else in to fill in the blanks.
Okay. And then Jeff wrote the other.
Jeff
version.
worked on one of the Pirates also.
Yeah. And
it takes an army for us to get a movie made, let me tell you.
Yeah. You ever just think I could be golfing? Or no, that doesn't. Do you ever think that you should be golfing instead of?
No, I hate golf. I can't spend 4 hours doing something and not making a movie.
Put him on a racetrack. Yeah. Is it hard to ever find the kind of enthusiasm to get out and go out to 19 different racetracks around the world and hang out with Brad Pitt all day?
It's a great world. It's a fascinating world. The amount of energy and money and just the talent. First of all, when you're talking about F1, there are 10 teams, 2 drivers to each team. Those 20 drivers are the best in the world. If you put them all in the same car, they come in with a half a second of each other. Mm. And when you see a race, there are 1,000 people back in England giving them information on that team. It's just a phenomenal sport.
Yeah. You get in have you gotten in one of those cars?
Well, first of all, you can't, as a civilian, you can't
Right.
get in one of those cars. Look, it took Brad and Damson 3 months before they can get into an F2 engine with an F1 body. That's
Yeah.
how long it takes to be able to drive these cars. Even an F2 driver, it takes him almost a month before he can get into an F1 car. That's the difference on these cars.
Hey.
They're real machines. First of all, they mold the seat to your body. That's where it starts. And they have to go through these really excruciating exercises to train their neck. They're hitting 5 Gs in some of these corners. And the scariest thing for us is when we put Brad and Damson in Vegas, where it's a street track and there's no runoff. So in other words, if they miss a turn, they're in the wall. And unfortunately, by the time we got to Vegas, they were so experienced that they were fine.
What were your calls with the insurance company like?
Well, it's interesting because we had calls with them.
Yeah.
Initially, they wouldn't let us go fast enough. And we had to have our F1 drivers and F2 drivers explain to them that when you go into a corner, you want to be going faster because of the downforce pushes you around the corners. And so it was more dangerous. It's not like a streetcar. It's more dangerous to go slow in these corners.
Wow. But you like that. You love putting the pieces together.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a logistical thing that you haven't been able to figure out?
No.
Okay.
As long as you got money, you can figure it out. And sometimes if you don't
It's
have money,
called throwing money at
you'll figure
the
it out.
problem. Yeah. But you do love that, right? You love kind of figuring out the impossible.
That's the fun of the game.
Yeah.
That's why we do it.
Yeah.
That's why I don't play golf.
You would rather be figuring out
Yeah.
this. I mean, one of the things I love about F1 is that you've historically throughout your career, kind of found unknown or lesser known actors and kind of elevated them, and also given experienced actors really good parts. And F1 is kind of the best of both worlds. And I was wondering, like, seeing Damson and I mean, obviously he's just like one of the most charismatic people ever, but now he's in the conversation about James Bond and all of this stuff. I mean, is that part of the thrill too of making these things? It's like finding that talent that.
Yeah, you have to have an all-star team. And Lucy Bevan, who cast the movie, is one of the greatest. And she found those actors and introduced them to Joe and myself, and that's how they got the parts. I had to read for it, and Damson actually had to drive. We put him in a car, in a high-speed sports car, and took him around a track.
That was one of the requirements?
Yeah, sure.
So if you couldn't drive...
He had to be coordinated, otherwise it wouldn't have worked.
Did he play the video game too before? How do you know how to do
He's first of all, Brad's an amazing athlete, and so is Damson.
Yeah.
You got to be really coordinated, and they both are.
Yeah. It shows. He also has to hold his own against Brad Pitt, which is kind of scary, I would imagine.
Well, listen, he certainly did, didn't he?
He did. He's amazing. I read that your mother lived until she was 104.
That's right.
So you got another at least 20 years.
Let's hope.
Yeah. So
I want to get through today, and then we'll figure out what happens.
I know today, this conversation is the most painful thing in your life so far, I know. But no plans to retire. You're going to...
They'll carry me out. No, look, as long as I can entertain people and bring them to the theaters, then I'm going to try to keep doing it.
Yeah. Has your kind of like methodology about that or your kind of formula for entertainment changed
No,
that
it's
much?
always about talented people. That's the key. Talented writers, talented directors, talented actors, studios that want to make quality work, and that's what we do.
That's all you need. Set up for success.
Great executives that you work with that really push your projects forward and are value added because they want to make excellent movies.
Yeah. And as you like to say, you're in the transportation business.
That's right.
You transport audiences to places they have never been. And
look at the heart of all this is to bring them into the theaters and give them an experience like Formula One.
Yeah.
Where you walk out, you felt something, you were immersed in that world.
Energized.
And you didn't have to know anything about it. When we had a preview where you take 20 people from the audience, and a woman raised her hand and said, when I heard the name of the movie, I wanted to get up and get out. She said, I really don't care about race cars.
Yeah.
She saw the movie and said, not only did I love it, I want to tell my friends to go see it. And that's the kind of thing you want to do. You want to give people an experience.
in the theater.
In the theater.
No streaming. You have no plans.
No, we do streaming too.
Okay. but it's not as fun.
It's all fun.
Okay. But sitting in an IMAX theater is watching F1.
That's the best.
It's the best. It was an amazing experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all so much.
Thank you for being
here. Thank you to Jerry Bruckheimer, the legend.
Thank you. Thank you.